I'm here working on my virtual guitar. So in my guitar course, underneath each of the lessons, I have this little guitar. It's there for teaching purposes. It's there for novelty and fun. This is version 1, but I'm over here in kind of my workshop and I'm tinkering around with it to try to get it to have everything that I want it to have, because I am programming this virtual guitar to see and understand guitar in the way that I do. There's a lot of crossover between what I would like to teach my students and what I am doing to teach this program how I understand guitar. And one of them is this interesting set of numbers, this 55545, which represents a standard tuning. I wanted to go through and explain what this number is. So the way that the virtual guitar works is that it builds this guitar up from scratch. I give it the lowest note that I want on the lowest string, in this case, low E. What it's gonna do from there is it actually builds out this lowest string. It builds these frets. It makes frets 1 through 15 over here. It just builds it out. The next thing that I need to tell it is how high should it jump up before it starts the next string. One of the options could have been, oh, I'm going to tell you every single string that I want, build up from there. But instead, I decided to make it the way that I see it, which is all I need to do is actually tell you the spacing in between the next string. And so I know that that's kind of confusing, but let's zoom in to the bottom 2 strings and we'll illuminate what this 5 means. I've set it up over here. This is the same situation. We've got a low E going on. It needs to know when to start the next string above it. And that 5 just means go up 5 frets. And then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's the note that it's going to start the next string and then build up all the frets afterwards. And that's probably still not totally clear, so I have a few more examples, including just a 3-string guitar. Again, I told this one lowest is E. It goes up to the 5. And then we've got another 5. It builds up the guitar in that way. And so what you end up seeing, you can have the lowest note, jump up to the 5, which gives you that A. That's going to go up 5, and that's going to start the next string. And then we've got another 5. It matches this. The next one is actually going to be a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That spacing, 3, 4, 5. And then now with these 5 numbers, essentially it's just that these 5 notes represent the relationship between these strings. Maybe it doesn't click, maybe it does. Let me show you some more examples of the kind of guitars that I can build just by giving it the lowest note and the relationships of the strings above it. So we have the standard tuning. We also have drop D. When drop D, all I need to tell it is, hey, the lowest note that I want is actually a D, the D below E. But to build up the guitar from there, I don't go to the 5th fret. That would give me the wrong note. I want to get back to A. What you really want is to actually go up to the 7th fret, and then you have the standard guitar tuning. Let's see, is there a cool chord? So you know drop D, this is how you would get it. You also can do 7 strings. So in the case of a 6-string guitar, all you'll need to have is the 5 notes to represent the spacing in between the 6 strings. For a 7-string guitar, you give it the 6 numbers to build it up. So this would be a low B, and then it builds up using 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 5. And let me go ahead and clarify something. For the musically inclined, 5 represents a perfect 4th above the lowest note. 4 represents a major 3. And so a major 3 is what's happening from the G string, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get a major 3rd. And so that's where you're going to start your 2nd string, which is the odd man out. You know, there's only one of the strings as this 4 frets up or a major 3rd. The rest have a relationship of a perfect 4th. If you are following along, the 7 is going to actually represent a perfect 5th. We'll just drop down to drop D here to see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you got a perfect 5th relationship. with the 7. If you're like music theory inclined, these numbers, 5, 4, 7, that stuff, these are considered semitones. But for the guitar, they are like completely equivalent to frets. So we might as well just call them frets for our case here. Yeah. Talked about the 7 string with 6 spacings. You can have less than that and just do 4 spacings and get a 5 string guitar. And I have a video where I talk about Jacob Collier's 5 string guitar. And it's built off of 2 perfect fifths and a perfect fourth, starting with a low D. Here's why it's really important to understand these numbers. Understanding the relationship between the strings have like a huge impact on how you understand the guitar, because the way you build up the guitar actually affects the shapes. So while a major chord on a standard guitar is going to look like, and so you get this shape. If you take that exact same notes, but you rearrange the strings, now you have an entirely different shape. This is a huge impact on the landscape of the guitar, how you build up things, how you move things around. It all comes back to just these numbers, really. Yeah, that's the secret of these numbers. Like I said, version 1 of this virtual guitar exists in my guitar course. If you want to play with it, you can actually go to homebase.com/demo. You can actually mess around with the version 1 over here. And if you're so inclined, you can actually sign up for the beta, and it'll be my pleasure to show you how I see the guitar. So all this stuff that I'm building out is trying to build out version 2. That's for maybe another time, but it involves all this stuff happening down here and so much more. That's it. I just wanted to share that. I thought that would be helpful for people to see, especially kind of like a more codey or numbers-based nerdy person. That is where the virtual guitar is today. I will probably share some more things about it later. Enjoy. Bye.